The map to the soul. You feel it, don't you? That pull, that whisper in the silence between your thoughts. It's not random. It's not coincidence. Your soul has been trying to speak to you your entire life. But here's the brutal truth most people never accept. Your ideas didn't come from you. Your dreams didn't originate in your conscious mind. They chose you. They arrived like messages from something deeper, something ancient, something that knows who you're meant to become. And most people? They ignore it. They suffocate that voice with distraction, with noise, with the opinions of people who are equally lost. They mistake the soul's guidance for foolish fantasy. They trade their inner compass for society's approval. They wonder why they feel empty while surrounded by everything they were told would make them happy. They're confused, frustrated, anxious in a way they can't name because they've abandoned the only guide that truly knows the way. Ralph Waldo Emerson said it perfectly. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. But the rare few, the ones who actually listen, they become magnetic, untouchable. They move through life with a quiet certainty that makes others stop and stare. They don't need to convince anyone of their value because their alignment speaks louder than words ever could. In this video, I'm going to give you 15 ruthless truths about finding your soul's map, the invisible navigation system that will make you immune to confusion, impossible to manipulate, and magnetic to the right opportunities. I'll show you why solitude is the most powerful weapon you possess, how to recognize when your soul is speaking versus when your ego is lying, the dark reason why most people actively sabotage their own clarity, and the single practice that makes you untouchable in a world designed to keep you lost. This isn't spiritual fluff. This is the operating manual for becoming the version of you that you feel in those rare, quiet moments. Drop "I'm in alignment with my soul" in the comments right now. Not for me, for you, to mark this moment when you decided to stop wandering and start listening. Let's begin. The 15 truths. Number 1. Solitude is where your soul speaks loudest. Most people are terrified of being alone with themselves. They fill every silence with podcasts, music, scrolling, calls, background noise, anything to avoid the void. They think they're being productive. In reality, they're running from the one conversation that would change everything, the conversation with themselves. Henry David Thoreau didn't go to Walden Pond because he hated people. He went because he understood something most never will. The soul cannot compete with constant noise. It whispers. It doesn't shout over the chaos. Here's what you do. Create deliberate silence, 1 hour every single day where you are alone, phone off, no input, no stimulation, just you and your thoughts. Sit with the discomfort. Let the anxiety surface. Watch your mind try to distract you. Don't fight it. Observe it. After 7 days of this, something shifts. The desperate thoughts quiet down, and underneath them, you'll hear it, that clear, calm knowing. That's your soul. That's the voice that's been buried under years of noise. The psychological mechanism is simple. Your soul speaks in the language of intuition and feeling. Your ego speaks in the language of fear and urgency. Silence reveals which is which. The moment you start doing this, people around you will notice something different. You'll become harder to read, more grounded. They'll feel unsettled because you're no longer seeking their validation for every decision. That quiet certainty creates magnetic respect. Drop "I choose solitude over noise" in the comments. Number 2, your soul chose your pain for a reason. Here's the dark truth nobody wants to hear. Everything that hurt you was part of the map. Every betrayal, every loss, every moment you felt abandoned. Not because the universe is cruel, but because your soul needed you to develop specific strength for the mission ahead. Most people spend their entire lives bitter about their wounds. They wear their trauma like an identity. They think healing means erasing the past. Wrong. Carl Jung understood this deeply when he said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." Your soul didn't sign up for an easy path. It signed up for a meaningful one. Here's how you extract the lesson. Take your 3 deepest wounds. Write them down. Now ask this question for each one. What strength did this force me to develop that I would not have otherwise? Did betrayal teach you discernment? Did loss teach you non-attachment? Did failure teach you resilience? The answers reveal your soul's curriculum. You weren't damaged by those experiences, you were forged. The psychological shift here is massive. When you stop being a victim of your past and start being a student of it, everything changes. You stop seeking sympathy, you start embodying wisdom, and wisdom is magnetic in a way victimhood never will be. People can sense when someone has transformed pain into power. It creates silent authority. Number 3, your soul speaks through what you resist. Pay attention to what makes you uncomfortable. Not physically uncomfortable, spiritually uncomfortable. The opportunities you avoid, the conversations you postpone, the creative projects you don't have time for, the risks that terrify you despite being objectively small. That resistance, that's not protecting you. That's your ego trying to keep you small because growth threatens its control. Your soul lives on the other side of that resistance. Most people obey their fear. They mistake comfort for safety. They build entire lives inside the boundaries of what doesn't scare them. Then they wonder why they feel dead inside. Friedrich Nietzsche saw this clearly. The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. Your soul's path will always feel like too much, too bold, too different, too risky. Here's the practice. Every week, do one thing that makes you spiritually uncomfortable. Not reckless, uncomfortable. Send that message, start that project, have that difficult conversation, propose that idea. Each time you move toward resistance instead of away from it, you send a signal to your soul. I'm listening, show me more. And it will. The mechanism behind this is simple. Your comfort zone is a prison disguised as safety. Every time you expand it, your identity expands. Your soul can finally stretch into the shape it was meant to take. People will start to see you as brave, not because you're fearless, but because you act despite the fear. That creates a different kind of respect, the kind that lasts.
Number 4, most people are following someone else's map. This is the darkest truth of all. The majority of people are living someone else's dream. Their parents' expectations, their culture's definition of success, their partner's vision of happiness, society's script for what a good life looks like. And they're doing it unconsciously. They think these desires are their own. They can't tell the difference anymore between what they actually want and what they were conditioned to want. That confusion creates a special kind of suffering, the suffering of living an entire life as an imposter in your own story. Arthur Schopenhauer spent his life examining this trap. Every man confuses the limits of his own field of vision for the limits of the world. You think you want the career because you want the career. In reality, you want the approval that comes with the career. You think you want the relationship because you want the relationship. In reality, you want to prove to yourself you're worthy of love. Here's how you find your map. Ask yourself this question about every major goal you have. If nobody would ever know I achieved this, would I still want it? If the answer is no, it's not your goal. It's a performance. Then ask this. What did I love doing before anyone told me what I should love doing? Before the expectations, before the judgment, before you learn to betray yourself for acceptance. The answers to these questions are breadcrumbs back to your soul. The psychological power in this is freedom, true freedom. When you stop performing someone else's life, you stop needing their validation. You become immune to manipulation. You become untouchable because there's nothing anyone can take from you that you actually value. That creates an aura of independence that makes you magnetic to the right people and invisible to the wrong ones. Drop "I follow my own map" in the comments. Number 5. Your soul communicates through energy, not logic. You've felt it before. You meet someone and within 30 seconds you know something's off. You can't explain it. They're saying all the right things, but your body is screaming no. Or the opposite. You meet someone and immediately feel safe, seen, understood. Again, no logical reason, just a knowing. That's your soul speaking, not through thoughts, through sensation, through feeling, through energy. Most people ignore this. They override their intuition with logic. They convince themselves to trust people their soul is warning them about. They talk themselves out of opportunities their soul is pulling them toward, because they've been trained to trust their head over their gut. Big mistake, massive. Blaise Pascal understood this when he wrote, "The heart has its reasons, which reason knows nothing of." Your logical mind can be fooled, your soul cannot. Here's how you develop this. Start tracking your energy. After every interaction, every decision, every environment, ask yourself, do I feel expanded or contracted? Do I feel more alive or more drained? Does this feel aligned or forced? Don't analyze the answers, just notice them. Over time, you'll build a database of what your soul says yes to and what it says no to, and you'll start making decisions from that place instead of from fear or obligation. The psychological mechanism here is sovereignty. When you trust your own internal guidance system, you stop being manipulated by external pressure. You stop justifying your choices to people who don't live with the consequences. You become unreachable by guilt, shame, and false obligation. That creates a presence that makes others respect your boundaries automatically, because you respect them first. Number 6. Your soul requires regular recalibration. Here's what they don't tell you. Finding your path isn't a one-time event. It's not a destination you arrive at and then coast. Your soul's map updates. As you grow, as you change, as you evolve, what aligned at 23 might suffocate you at 30. What felt like purpose at 30 might feel like prison at 40. And most people panic when this happens. They think something's wrong. They double down on the old path, trying to force it to work. They mistake consistency for integrity. In reality, their soul is trying to guide them to the next level, but they're too invested in the old version of themselves to listen. Marcus Aurelius knew this truth. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Here's the practice. Every 6 months, do a soul audit. Ask yourself, what am I doing out of genuine desire versus habit or fear? What energizes me now that didn't before? What drains me now that used to fulfill me? If I could design the next year with complete freedom, what would it look like? Write down the answers. Look for the patterns. Then have the courage to pivot, to let go of what no longer fits, to admit you've changed, and that's not failure, it's growth. The psychological power here is evolution. When you give yourself permission to change, you become magnetic to new opportunities. You stop clinging to dead relationships, dead careers, dead versions of yourself. You become fluid, adaptable, alive. And that aliveness makes people want to be around you, because most people are walking dead, trapped in old identities, and you remind them that escape is possible.
Number 7. Silence makes people reveal themselves. Your soul doesn't need to explain itself. It doesn't need to justify. It doesn't need to convince. It simply knows. And when you operate from that place, something powerful happens. You become comfortable with silence.
Most people fear silence in conversation. They fill it with words, with explanations, with oversharing. They think silence means something's wrong. In reality, silence is where truth lives. When you stop talking, people reveal who they really are. They either fill the space with their own truth, or they fill it with manipulation, lies, and performance. Lao Tzu taught this thousands of years ago. Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know. Here's how you use this. In your next important conversation, try this. Ask your question, then shut up. No matter how uncomfortable the silence gets, no matter how much you want to fill it, let them speak first. Watch what they reveal when they're forced to fill the void. Watch how they handle the discomfort. You'll learn more about someone in 30 seconds of silence than in 30 minutes of small talk. The psychological mechanism is projection. When you're silent, people project onto you. They reveal their fears, their intentions, their character, and you gain information without giving any away. That creates strategic advantage. It makes you harder to manipulate because you're not showing your hand, you're making them show theirs. People will start to feel like you see through them, and you do, because you've learned to listen to what's not being said. That creates a presence that demands respect.
Number 8. Your soul already knows the answer. You know that decision you've been agonizing over for weeks? That relationship question you keep asking everyone about? That career move you're researching to death? Here's the truth. You already know what to do. You've known from the beginning. You're just scared to admit it because the answer requires change, risk, or discomfort. So you pretend you're confused. You collect more information. You ask more people. You create the illusion of being thoughtful when really you're just stalling. Most people live their entire lives this way, knowing the truth, pretending they don't, waiting for permission from the outside world to do what their inside world has been screaming at them to do. Soren Kierkegaard captured this perfectly. Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. You're not confused, you're afraid, and that's okay, but stop lying to yourself about it. Here's what you do. Take the decision you're stuck on. Set a timer for 60 seconds. Ask yourself, if I had to decide right now, what would I choose? The first answer that comes up, that's your soul. Everything after that is your ego negotiating. Trust the first answer, not the comfortable one, not the logical one, the true one. The mechanism here is clarity. When you stop lying to yourself about already knowing, you stop wasting energy on false confusion. You reclaim that energy for action, and action creates momentum. Momentum creates results. Results create confidence. Confidence creates presence, and presence makes people trust your judgment even when they don't understand your decisions. Number 9. Your soul speaks loudest in nature. There's a reason every prophet, mystic, and truth seeker throughout history sought wilderness. Moses on the mountain, Buddha under the tree, Jesus in the desert, Muhammad in the cave. It's not poetic metaphor, it's practical instruction. Nature strips away the artificial, the constructed, the performed. It reveals what's real. Most people avoid nature. They prefer the controlled environment, the temperature-regulated comfort, the Wi-Fi connection. They think they're choosing convenience. In reality, they're choosing numbness. They're avoiding the mirror that nature holds up to them, because in nature, you can't hide from yourself. John Muir spent his life understanding this. In every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks. Here's the practice. Once a week, minimum, spend 2 hours in nature with zero technology. No phone, no earbuds, no camera to capture it for social media. Just you and the trees, the water, the sky.
Walk without destination. Sit without agenda. Notice how your mind slowly quiets. Notice how your breathing deepens. Notice how the urgent becomes less urgent. And in that space, your soul will speak, not in words, in knowing. The psychological mechanism is perspective. When you're surrounded by trees that have stood for centuries, your problems shrink to their actual size. When you're standing at the edge of an ocean, your ego's concerns become laughably small. That recalibration changes how you move through the world. You become less reactive, more grounded, less desperate for things that don't matter, more focused on things that do. People feel that depth. They sense you've touched something they've lost, and they're drawn to it. Drop "I return to nature" to return to myself in the comments.
Number 10. Your soul hates compromise with the wrong people. Compromise is sold as maturity, as wisdom, as the hallmark of healthy relationships. And it is, with the right people. But with the wrong people, compromise is slow suicide. It's the gradual erosion of everything that makes you, you. Most people don't know the difference. They compromise with everyone. They bend themselves into shapes that don't fit. They silence their truth to keep the peace. They trade their alignment for acceptance. And they wonder why they feel hollow, why they look in the mirror and don't recognize themselves. Your soul doesn't compromise on its core truth. It can't. And when you force it to, something inside you dies. Friedrich Nietzsche warned about this. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. But if you compromise your why, no how will ever feel right. Here's how you know if compromise is healthy or toxic. Healthy compromise makes both people more themselves. Toxic compromise makes you less yourself. Healthy compromise is about methods and timing. Toxic compromise is about values and identity. If you're compromising who you are to keep someone around, they're the wrong person. If you're compromising your core values to fit in somewhere, it's the wrong place. Your soul knows this. Your ego argues against it because it fears loneliness more than it fears betraying yourself. But here's the dark truth. The loneliest place in the world is surrounded by people who don't actually know you. The mechanism here is integrity. When you stop compromising your soul for acceptance, you become unshakable. You become whole. You become magnetic to people who love you for who you actually are. And you become repellent to people who only loved the mask you were wearing. That filter is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Number 11. Your soul grows through creation, not consumption. You're drowning in input. Podcasts, videos, books, courses, articles, posts, everyone consuming, everyone learning, everyone optimizing. But here's the problem. Your soul doesn't grow through consumption. It grows through creation, through bringing something into existence that didn't exist before. Most people are addicted to the feeling of learning. They think they're growing. In reality, they're hiding from the risk of putting something original into the world, hiding from the judgment that comes with creation, hiding from the vulnerability of saying, "This is what I think, this is what I made." Consumption feels productive, it feels safe, but it's a trap. Vincent van Gogh understood this. I am always doing what I cannot do yet in order to learn how to do it. Not studying what others have done, doing what he couldn't yet do. Here's what you do. Cut your consumption in half, not eventually, starting today. For every hour you spend consuming, spend 2 hours creating. It doesn't matter what. Write, build, design, compose, film, paint, code, whatever your soul is pulling you toward. Create badly at first. Create messily. Create imperfectly. Just create.
The psychological shift is ownership. When you create, you become the source instead of the recipient. You stop waiting for someone else to give you the answer. You become the answer. That changes your energy completely. People stop seeing you as a student and start seeing you as a master. Not because you know everything, but because you're willing to put skin in the game. That courage is magnetic. Number 13, your soul knows who your real family is. Blood doesn't mean alignment. Shared DNA doesn't guarantee shared values. Being related doesn't mean they understand your soul's path. Most people spend their entire lives trying to get their biological family to see them, understand them, accept them, and they suffer, because those people often can't. Not because they're bad, but because they're on a completely different map. They're speaking a different language. They're playing a different game, and you keep expecting them to understand yours. That expectation is the source of endless pain. Your soul doesn't care about blood. It cares about resonance. It cares about alignment. It cares about who actually sees you. Rainer Maria Rilke understood this. Perhaps all the dragons in our lives are princesses who are only waiting to see us act just once with beauty and courage. But some dragons are just dragons, and pretending otherwise is self-betrayal. Here's the practice. Make 2 lists. List 1, people you're related to by blood or obligation. List 2, people who actually see your soul and support your path. Now be honest about how much overlap there is. If there's little or none, stop expecting list 1 to give you what only list 2 can provide. Give your energy to the people who actually get you. Stop bleeding yourself dry trying to extract understanding from people who don't have the capacity to give it. The mechanism here is conservation of energy. Your soul is finite in its energy. When you waste it trying to convince the wrong people, you have nothing left for the right people. When you redirect that energy toward your real family, the chosen one, the resonant one, you become more of yourself. You become more alive, and that aliveness attracts more of your real family. Drop "I choose resonance over obligation" in the comments. Not as an affirmation you hope becomes true someday, but as a declaration of the work you're committing to right now. The map is yours. The journey is yours. The destination is already inside you. Stop looking outside. Start listening inside. Your soul has been waiting your entire life for you to finally pay attention. Now go, walk your path, and watch what happens when you stop following theirs.